If you've never animated before and you want to make a film in Unreal Engine, there's a few basics you're going to need to know. And in this video, I'm going to tell you what they are. Welcome to Realtime Workflows. Full character animation is not something you can just watch a YouTube video and learn. It takes years of practice to do it properly. But for what we're doing, we just need to cover the basics of moving objects from A to B and making that movement feel realistic. So let's get to it. We're going to cover it from the basics. All I've got here is a brand new project, a third-person level project. So if we run the game by pressing play, we will see we're in a third-person level and we can run around like that. Okay, let's get to animation. The best way to practice animation is to use Unreal Engine Sequencer. Okay, that's where we're going to make shots ultimately. And if you're going to make films, you're making shots. All we need to do is create a level sequence for us to work in. A level sequence, as I've discussed in other videos, should probably be thought of as like a shot. Think of it as a shot. Where we're going to put our shots? Well, I tend to put them in a folder called Cinematics. Now, how you want to structure this folder is completely up to you. For now, I'm not going to worry about the structure because we're just going to create a level sequence and that's organized enough. What you call your level sequence is up to you. I've got other videos about naming conventions and things like that, but for now, I'm going to use a fairly standard Unreal naming convention and call it LS for level sequence, and I'm going to call it Intro to Anim. Doesn't matter what you call it, we're just practicing. And then we're going to open this file, and this will open Unreal Engine Sequencer, okay? And this is the subject of today's lesson. Here are some buttons that you're going to use regularly. This is the save button. Don't need to explain that, do I? This is the locate. So this will go, you'll find this in other places as well, this magnifying glass, and that will open the content browser and find the asset that you're currently working in. So if we did it for the level, it will open the content browser and show you where this level is. And if we did it for sequencer, it's going to open the content browser at where the sequence is stored. It's quite a handy little way to get around. This camera button will create a camera at the location where your viewport currently is. This button is to will render the sequence. We're not going to worry about that yet. I have got videos about rendering elsewhere. This one is the playback options. Now, this is really important. As a general rule, what we want to do is we want to start at 1,000. I have made a video about this in the past. There are reasons for this. You don't need to worry too much about it. And what this does is it moves our timeline over here. It's just good practice to get into. It's the professional thing to do. Any professional VFX artist would start their frame count at 1,001 and not 1. Okay. And because of that, we've now got all this empty space here, so we can address these, and we can set these to like 990 just to make sure these are our bounds. So that's our minimum. That's our minimum where we can scrub. If we just set that to just outside our frame range, that's a good place for it to be. Also in here, there are a few other options, such as playback speed. Probably not going to need to know to use many of those at the minute. This is the auto key button. I'm going to tell you what a keyframe is in a second. Snapping is really useful to have on, and we'll see why. Here's an important one. We're going to change this most likely to be 24. 24 is the frame rate of film. And then we're going to cover the 2 buttons on the end in a later video. We don't need to worry about them. Let's add an object we can animate. We're going to put a cube into the level sequence, and we're going to just put it here on so we can see what we're doing. Now, we can see it's got a transform track, and we can animate its location, rotation, and scale. We do that by adding a keyframe with this plus button. So if I will just want to animate its location, I can hit plus, I can come over here and drag it over here. Now you'll see that it did not add a keyframe automatically, which you might expect if you've done some animation before. We have to hit keyframe now, and we can see that it's now animated. But only the location, because I only press this keyframe. Now, if I'd left this collapse and I hit keyframe here, we will see that it actually added keys to all the channels, location, rotation, and scale. And this is true for the individual axes as well. So we can drop these down and we can add individual keyframes for an individual channel. Okay, so that I also animated the pitch there, right? So now the pitch changes but only the pitch, because it's the only channel I animated. Now we can change the timing of these by moving the keys. Okay, if we collapse the entire channel, we collapse it all to a transform channel, we're grabbing all the keys on that frame. But we can also, expand the channels to move them individually. So we're just moving the rotation, just moving the translation, for example, or we can move them in and out. There is more control you can have using the curve editor, and we're going to get to that in a subsequent video. Let's talk about auto keys. I'm going to delete these keys now. Now, if I moved this and did not set a key, and I scrub again, it snaps back to where it was because there was no key set. I forgot to do it. You can make a choice as to whether you want to move an object and then key it, or if you want Sequencer to set a key automatically whenever you move an object that's had a keyframe set. Okay, this is a mindset you can just choose right now. Choose which of these paths you're going to take. I like auto key on, so that whenever I've animated and whenever I move an object that's got a keyframe, it will then set a key automatically. So to do that, we're going to set this button down. So now when I move this, it's set a key automatically on that channel, but only on the channel that I changed. I changed X. So if we open this transform, look, we can see there's a keyframe set on the X channel, which is the red one, but nothing else got a keyframe set. And this is a behavior we can change in here. See, I put key changed, right? So we can key the group, or we can key everything all at once. So we've moved this, we auto key set a key. Now let's say I want to move over here, and I've got my boxes moved here, and then I want it to move over here. So we're now going to move it in the Y axis, the green one, over here. Now it's set a keyframe, but we can see actually what it's doing because of its path. It's not moving here and here, it's kind of doing this. Now it's doing that because there was no keyframe set on the Y at this point. So if we want to say it definitely needs to be in that position on that keyframe, what we should have done, so I'll delete this keyframe on the Y. What I should have done is set a keyframe there, which is now established, which is now put keyframes on all the channels. And now over here I can move in the Y, and then it behaves as expected. It moves to point 1 and then to the second point. And if I already had that and I wanted to change that behavior, I could delete this Y key here, and it will bypass that entirely and just move to here. And if I wanted it to move in a straight line, of course, what we could do is we could make it get to here later. So I move this along, and we can see the path change. Move it along and set it to there, and now it just moves in the diagonal. So those are two keyframes. Basically, this is the start position and its end position. Now, it could be argued that the middle point, where I had it, was its breakdown. The breakdown is an animation term for how an object gets from keyframe A to keyframe B. Okay. Now, in CG, really, we kind of just think of it as another keyframe. But it's useful to think about it in this classical animation term of a breakdown, because what we might say is that this is actually going to do this to get to this point, all right? So the start position and end position are exactly the same, but the route that the box took to get there has changed, and it's changed because we set a breakdown key. Before I leave you on this one, I'm going to tell you another animation term, and this term is timing, okay? Timing is pretty self-explanatory, really. It's the time that an object takes to move between the keyframes, all right? It's usually coupled with another term, spacing. We're going to cover spacing in the next video. But for now, what we need to know is the timing right now is even and kind of boring, right? It's slow. It's the keyframes are evenly spaced out, which maybe they should be. But if we can change the timing by moving these keyframes around. So for example, now we get to the middle point much faster, and then slow down to get to that last point. And maybe we want to do the opposite way. We can move the breakdown over here, so it takes longer to get to there, and then suddenly it'll just move to the final position. Okay, so by moving these keyframes around, we're changing the timing. But to get into the real detail, we're going to change the spacing. Okay. And again, I'll explain what spacing is in the next video. We're going to need to get under the hood. All right. And under the hood, they're like curves. Okay. And mathematical curves. Sounds scary, but it's not. And that's where you really take control of the animation, and it's really where you need to be. So in the next video, we're going to cover spacing in the curve editor. See you there.